Here's the truth. No one tells men over 40, "You're not out of the game." You are the game. But only if you know how to play it differently. Because after 40, attraction changes. It's no longer about your jawline, your bank account, or your text game. It's about aura, about how you walk into a room without needing anyone's validation, especially hers. And when a man over 40 unlocks this kind of energy, he becomes 10 times more magnetic. To younger women, to women his age, to everyone. But here's the twist. Most men over 40 sabotage their own power, chasing youth instead of owning maturity. They try to compete with younger guys, not realizing they've already won, if they stop acting like they lost. This video breaks down 3 things men over 40 do that make them irresistible, not in a flashy, superficial way, but in a deep, almost primal way women feel without understanding why. Let's begin. 1. They master silent confidence. The aura of a man who doesn't need to prove anything. When a man in his 20s enters a room, he often scans for who to impress. When a man in his 40s with presence enters, he doesn't scan, he grounds. That difference is everything. The most attractive men over 40 radiate a calm, quiet energy. They're not trying to be the loudest. They're not dressed to beg for attention. And they're not seeking approval. They are anchored, fully comfortable in their own skin. And that kind of energy hits different, especially for women who are used to noise. This kind of man doesn't lead with ego. He leads with stillness. He lets the silence do the talking. He listens more than he speaks. He answers questions with pauses, not panic. And that, ironically, makes every word he says more powerful. Why? Because women over 25 are tired of being talked at. They crave being felt. And a man who doesn't need attention often becomes the center of it. It's not arrogance, it's sovereignty. The realization that you don't need to fight for space when you are the space. So how do you develop this? Simple. Stop oversharing. Practice non-reactivity. Enter rooms with the mindset. Nothing to prove, everything to observe. Make eye contact like you've already seen her soul. That's silent confidence. That's power without noise. And that's 10 times more attractive than any line you could say. 2. They don't chase youth, they weaponize maturity. Most men fear aging, but high-value men over 40 weaponize it. They don't try to look 25. They don't try to mimic younger men. They lean into their experience, and that becomes their edge. You see, youth comes with energy, but age brings depth, and women, especially women who've lived a little, are far more drawn to depth than flash. Here's the secret. When you're over 40, you don't need to be exciting. You need to be grounded. That means you've been through things. You've had heartbreak, loss, reinvention. You've outgrown insecurity. You've seen behind the curtain. And when you speak, it shows. You tell stories that have blood in them. You move slower, but with intention. You walk like time isn't chasing you anymore, because it's not. This maturity makes women feel something most guys can't offer: safety without weakness. Not the kind of safety that bores her, the kind that calms her nervous system, the kind that makes her lean into you in a crowd, even if you haven't said a word. If you're over 40, start seeing your years not as a disadvantage, but as a weapon. Every wrinkle, every scar, every silence, those are badges. Show them, because nothing is more attractive to a woman than a man who has nothing left to prove and everything left to experience. 3. They know the power of selectivity, and they use it like a blade. The average man seeks attention. The rare man chooses where to give it. And after 40, your selectivity becomes your strongest magnet. Here's what most guys get wrong. They think being desirable means being desired by all. But high-value men over 40 flip the script. They don't care who wants them. They care who qualifies to be around them. This shift in mindset changes everything. You don't compliment recklessly. You don't pursue every attractive woman. You don't respond instantly. You don't explain your standards. You live them. And that creates mystery. Because when a woman feels you're not immediately sold, when she realizes you're watching her just as much as she's watching you, her attraction intensifies. Why? Because women chase value, and value is always selective. Men over 40 who master this are no longer acting from a place of scarcity. They don't flirt for sport. They don't entertain chaos. They protect their peace. And that energy, that's intoxicating. It doesn't say, "Please want me." It says, "Convince me you're worth the calm I built." That's the blade. Selectivity cuts through the noise and makes you unforgettable. 4. They control their emotions, but still make her feel. Most men are emotional wrecks pretending to be strong. High-value men over 40, they're emotionally composed, but far from cold. Let's break that down. When you're younger, your emotions control you. Jealousy, anxiety, neediness, anger, they leak out in conversations, texts, even the way you walk. But the man who's lived a little longer, who's been betrayed, heartbroken, fired, humbled, rejected, that man either becomes bitter or he learns emotional self-control. And here's the key. Control doesn't mean suppression. It means awareness. You feel it all, but you choose what to reveal. Not out of fear, out of strategy. This is where Stoicism comes alive. The Stoic man doesn't numb himself. He masters his inner world so deeply that no mood, no woman, no situation can pull him into chaos. And what does that do to women? It makes them feel safe, but not bored. Because while you're not dramatic, you're not robotic either. You still flirt. You still tease. You still make her laugh, look her in the eyes, build tension in silence. But it all comes from a place of control, not reaction. You don't argue over nonsense. You don't chase after mixed signals. You don't explain your worth. You radiate it. You're emotionally stable, and that's rare. You're emotionally aware, and that's lethal. Because when she sees that you can feel deeply but don't fall apart, that you can stay calm even when she's testing you, she realizes she can let go around you. That's what she craves. A man who holds space, not one who takes up space. Attraction isn't about showing her how much you care. It's about showing her that you don't need her to feel okay. That subtle shift makes you irresistible, because it makes her feel more alive in your presence. 5. They build a life so good, she wants to be invited into it. Let's kill the biggest myth once and for all. You don't attract women by being available. You attract them by being unavailable in the right way, by building a life so rich, peaceful, and fulfilling. That being with you feels like joining something already beautiful. This is what powerful men over 40 understand. You don't need to chase her. You need to become so rooted in your purpose, your fitness, your peace, your routines, that she naturally gravitates toward your gravity. It's not about being too busy to play games. It's about not even recognizing that the game exists anymore, because you've outgrown it. You're not sitting by the phone. You're out walking at sunrise. You're building wealth, reading Seneca, cooking your own meals, planning your next quiet escape from noise. And here's the irony. The more you live for yourself, the more attractive you become to others. This is spiritual. This is primal. Women don't want to be your everything. They want to add to something that's already thriving. So ask yourself, are you building a kingdom worth stepping into? Or are you waiting for a queen before you start? High-value men over 40 already built the throne. They don't beg for company. They invite it, quietly. And when she feels your life doesn't need her to be full, she'll crave to be part of it. Because the one thing more attractive than potential is a man who's already living it. You don't need to chase youth to be attractive. You don't need six-pack abs or the perfect jawline. You need depth. You need stillness. And you need standards. Men over 40 who understand this don't age out of the game. They redefine it. They move differently, speak less, and radiate the kind of confidence that can only come from pain, wisdom, and time. That's what women can't resist. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how old you are. It's about how unshakable you've become.